They had a segment with Renee Moxleygood in the ring with Sammy Guevara. And here, the wrestling's version of Barbara Walters, the big question that she asked Darby was, where are you at? Where are you at on all this? And, or not Darby, but Sammy. Did I say Darby?
Where you at? Where
am I at? She asked Sammy, where are you at? And they're having a girl. And I'm really thrilled about that. He wants to have his wife by his side, his baby girl in one arm, and the AEW world title in the other, and the people booed that.
Yeah, they were with him until he said that. That was a step too far.
The Bonnie Steamboat principle. They don't want to see the wife. They don't want to see the fucking snot-nosed crumb snatcher. They just want to see the fucking wrestler.
I don't think it was that at all. I think they were fine and happy that this wrestler was going to have a child and live with his wife.
Oh, they didn't want him to have the AEW world title.
I think they thought it was preposterous that he'd be the AEW world champion based on the reaction.
Well, anyway, that's when Darby, that's who I was thinking about. Darby came out at that point, and Renee just handed Sammy her microphone and just walked out. You see that all the time on the news. The newscaster interviewing people, somebody walks up, they'll just turn it over. So Darby said that the people are starting to love Sammy again after they just booed the thought of him either having a girl under his arm or a baby on his head or a title in his crotch or whatever the fuck. But Darby wants to know, is he going to stand on his own 2 feet or be in the shadow of those dirty old Jericho appreciators? And at that point, here comes Jericho music, and it's getting busy. But at least Jericho's alone, and he gets in the ring. Go ahead.
Did you see what Jericho had on his feet?
I don't know that I paid any attention to his feet.
Oh, purple high heels.
You're kidding me.
You keep talking. I'm going to find an image and I'll get it to you before the end of your review here.
All right. Well, he got in the ring and said, hey, Derek. No, what he
You're lucky I was on mute there. I would have interrupted everything.
The byplay with him and Sammy, Jericho tells Sammy, you never called me or asked me for my help to win the world title. And Sammy reminds Jericho, well, you lost to Adam Cole twice, well, I'm going to ask you for anything. And Jericho says, well, you better apologize. And Sammy won't. And Jericho says, did you understand this any better than I did? Jericho and Sammy are having an argument, so Jericho says, well, we need to reunite the sex gods and have a tag match next week to remind you who the boss really is. How would that work? How would that do that? How would Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara teaming up against 2 other people remind Sammy Guevara who the boss is between the 2 of them?
Well, these are the kind of ideas that come to you in a hotel late at night, listening to loud music, drinking, and shirtless, flexing.
Right before you appear on body cameras.
Right before you get dragged out of that same hotel.
So anyway, Darby interrupted both of them and said, well, you may be a wizard, but when you get in the ring, the magic is gone. And then Jericho threatened Darby, and Darby said he's not alone. And here came Sting with his bat, because Jericho had a bat, and Darby's got bats in his belfry. And as Sting got in the ring, they mentioned that it was the first time that Sting and Jericho have ever been face-to-face in the ring. And now that come to think of it, I guess it would be, wouldn't it? And I wish it had been more historic, because basically what they did was Jericho poked Sting with his bat, and Sting slapped that bat out of the way and poked Jericho with his bat, and Jericho backed up on that, and they clinked bats a time or 2, and Jericho left, and everybody was left staring at each other. And that was that. First time ever, Sting and Jericho. What'd you think, Brian?
Everything Jericho's in, it just descends into, why did they do this? Why is this the decision they made? Why did Jericho think this was a good idea? I sent you a video, Jim. It should be set up to a certain time so you could see.
Oh, God damn it.
What this guy has on his feet to elevate him a little bit.
Yes, you sent it to me by the email, eh?
Via the email, yes.
Via the email, I'm waiting for it to come. That's what she said.
That's what, well, there you go.
Well, what did you think about this fiasco while I wait for this email?
I don't know what to think. Again, Sammy's like a great baby face, and then every promo he turns heel in the same promo. In this one, it was about the idea he would be elevated to be the world champion. Darby, it's an interesting role for Darby. He's like a counselor or a coach, a life coach. I don't know why he's...
Boy, when you're getting advice from Darby Allin about what to do with your life, you may have made a serious mistake. Okay, I have the email, I have the YouTube clip, and I have now on the screen Jericho wearing purple glittery high heel boots. Yeah, he is, Lance.
Those are high heels. Yes, he is.
I'm surprised he can stand up in the ring on those heels. What the fuck? It's like 2 inches shorter than Gene Simmons.
Well, what I was going to say is, although I disagree with Jericho's wardrobe choices here, and I think it'll be booked to be stupid because Chris Jericho can't help himself, and Chris Jericho should have nothing to do with his own creative. I think Sammy and Jericho is like the logical thing to do.
Yeah.
Sammy finally has to be broken away from Jericho. Jericho's dead right now. Like, not even with us making fun of him and his bad work, but like even with the AEW fans, they've kind of been burned out on Jericho. Like, he's one of these guys that really could use some time off that TV show for their fans.
It was so much of the same kind of shit with the whole group of goofs that nobody... Does anybody care about Jake Hager? If he burst into spontaneous combustion tomorrow, would a wrestling fan in the world shed a tear? Would anybody miss Cool Hand Luke and Daddy Mac Daddy if they weren't there? What do they contribute? It's just been a group of people that really Sammy's been the only one that you could elevate from the start. Oh, and Garcia, my God, how can we forget old DG? The poster boy for being a black hole of charisma. Not only does he have none, but he sucks the charisma of those around him into him. So and they would beat people up constantly and do those long, drawn-out angles that just never ended. He needs a break, like you said.
Yeah, but I think this is... Again, I'm worried about the booking because Chris Jericho can't help himself, and I don't think Sammy's going to put his foot down and come up with some great ideas all of a sudden. But beyond that, if someone could book this well, this is the logical thing to do right now. Sammy versus Jericho. This is the one thing that needs to be done to elevate Sammy, not just to the world title, but anywhere, just because he's been tied to Jericho since day one.
Well, moving along, because we got to get to this big main event. I know people are waiting to hear about this one. It made a lot of news. But and Sanada, who apparently is the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Champion, he did a promo in Japanese they used subtitles on. He's going to be on Forbidden Door, I guess.
I believe he's wrestling Jungle Boy.
Well, good.